No, isn't this story quite similar to the Taj Mahal story, where it was the same deal, where like there was a very extravagant, wealthy man, and he died before he could have it completed, and then his wife finished it, and she also died, and then they both were in there, and then it melted because it was chocolate. I can't remember. That was something to do with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think, but I can't remember.
It's still
there.
Yeah,
but there was a whole thing about it being built out of chocolate. No one thought, we're in India, it's quite hot. Let's not build it out of chocolate. And also, it just starts to melt. It just starts to melt halfway through. Like they're right at the end of construction, and then it melts.
The Johnny Depp, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, where
it's got to be that one.
He goes
it was CG.
Yeah, I think that was just for the movie.
I know that.
How the fuck did you think that was real? Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Welcome to the FTR1 podcast, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything except for when we've talked about it previously, then we never talk about it again, unless we want to talk about it again. It's a podcast where things change all the time, such as the acronym at the end of Jack Otherworld's name. How are you doing?
Right, okay. Full disclosure, this is the second run at a failed intro, and I lambasted our dear friend and host of the show for having lost any skill at doing these IW acronyms, because they were better before, objectively. And he's taken a second pass, and to my dismay, I find no improvement.
That's old news, Jack Old Wales. Anyway,
that's better.
The pot.
Not really.
Is it? Sorry, is it?
It's a little bit.
Otherworldly, I didn't think was that bad, given.
Yeah,
which
considering the topic is
Old
aliens.
Wales is at least odd.
Wow, Jesus Christ!
Sometimes they don't have to
Suddenly
be funny.
we
Sometimes
have.
They're just.
This is a comedy show. They have to be funny.
I don't see anyone laughing.
Jesus Christ!
You were chuckling in that sentence.
We're doing a comedy.
Get in the bin.
Guys, if I knew you were doing a comedic podcast, I would have changed some things, You could have told me when we started this. Everything I've done has been a sincere act of serious drama, and you're telling me now it's a comedic podcast?
This is number 25.
Oh, fuck.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
26?
People are going to think when I was really struggling on that cold open that it's never going to be aired.
The cold open died, remember? The cold open died.
It did die.
We can do that again if you want. We can do more cold opens.
Can you guys explain what we're doing this week? Because I really need a moment about the fact this is a comedic podcast.
So the 7 wonders of the world, but not the natural ones. The ancient ones, and not the modern ones. Turns out there's actually at least 27. No, I can't do
28.
maths. 21. No, not 24.
No,
what did you say?
28.
That's wrong. There's the ancient ones, the natural ones, and the modern ones.
That's 21.
And I don't know about the extra ones.
It could be another 7.
It's probably
only ever
7.
in groups of 7 though. Why 7?
Funny that. I don't know. Why do humans like 7 so much? What's that about?
Lucky
Why
number.
not 3?
Yeah, 3's a better number.
Oh, I don't know about that. I do prefer 7, I think.
Mathematically, it's a better number.
You fuck off.
Second last.
You can't just throw that out there. Like that's
It's
real.
Smaller, so it's gonna.
Everyone knows mathematicians prefer smaller numbers because they're easier to work with.
3 is an interesting number. There's a lot more going on with 3 than 7.
Shut up.
There's more 3s in the world than 7s.
Now, there are more 3s in the world than 7s. So what are we doing this week? Because my headphones switched off. Oh, the 3 wonders of the world.
No, the 7.
The 7 ancient. I was saying there's 7 wonders of the world.
Well,
because there's the modern ones,
I
the
think
ancient ones, and the
3's
natural
more
ones.
catchy. Maybe we should cut. 7's just an odd number, isn't it?
Do you want to cut 4?
We could cut 4.
And then we'll rate the top 3. We'll cut
the
4.
Martians will be fucking pissed. They built 7 and they were like, "Look, you gotta respect that we built these."
I think what we can do is we can give them all a review, and then we each pick our favourite one, and that's 3.
That's genius.
Yeah. And then we can vote
what I'm
on the
here.
other ones, on which one's the best out of those 3.
Well,
You know
Who wants
what?
to kick it off then?
Anyway, fucking, what's the Mausoleum one? What's that one about? That's the one I know
Mausoleum.
least about.
Dead
Okay,
people,
guys, because of the
presumably.
comedic.
Shit, thanks, Matt. You sold it. Keep swigging beer.
Yeah.
You fucking love
Because it's a
I have
comedy
one-
podcast.
one-
now.
I do one thing here. And it's
Point
drink.
out the fucking obvious and then drink. Furious Googling commences.
There we
Right,
go.
what's it? It's the Mausoleum. Can we get the name? Is it Colossus?
Halicarnassus.
It's not
Halicarnassus.
Halla or Holla?
I
Hallie.
found it in
H-A-L.
Minecraft.
Halicarnassus. Halicarnassus. Every time I hear it, no matter how many times you say it, in my head repeats it like, okay, yeah, I'm hearing it. Nebuchadnezzar. And I'm like, no, that's just not it. I did it wrong.
Halicarnassus.
He's from the Matrix, I think. Halicarnassus.
It was the
okay.
capital
what's
of
his deal?
Caria.
Where is it?
It was a
I don't know where that
it
is.
was a tomb built
The
between 350
Achaemenian
and
Empire?
350.
No, we can't do conflicting facts simultaneously. That's too much fact. One at a
Too much
time for the
fact.
facts, please.
Are we doing a fact-based
a little?
podcast?
I want to know the lay
Hang
of
on
the
a
land
second.
before I
I need
start
to
shitting
read
on
Is this serious? Is this serious? Is this comedy? Who knows?
It's both. How can't you do this? Oh, you right now. Perfect
Right,
time.
look,
give
okay.
me the straight
It
facts.
was built.
Oh, it's so hard! There are 2 things. What do I do? Oh, no! I got it. Brilliant.
He's reinstalled it. You had every chance to. You had every chance to do facts, and then.
So the-
Sorry, I did
No.
not. I had no chance to do facts then. This man just comes in with a big old scream.
Oscar performance, everyone.
Yeah.
That was epic.
Comedic timing was on point
He,
there.
So-
he ruined the lighting and everything.
Here's a couple of facts, which are
Not
a
your fact. His facts
little
were
bit
my
first.
facts
funny.
isn't that important.
He was first in the
He-
facts.
that's fine.
You.
Come in with the fact. It's his
Don't
time.
acquiesce
It's
to
his
him.
time
What
now.
do you? You're giving
No.
him everything. You're a
It's
fucking
his
doormat.
time
his
now.
time now.
It's his time now.
He
It's
is
your time you're
No,
wasting.
what he has done is he has completely pulled everything from underneath me, and I am now stuck in a hole trying to climb
I
my
gave
way
you
out.
every
I'm
opportunity
reaching
to
down
pour
the
it all
hole.
back.
Climb back up. I'm here for you. Couple of things. I've recently had a chip put next to my heart, so I'm not allowed to take on heavy burdens. So if you're going to be too much, I'm not going to be able to pull you up. In fact, I'll be coming in there with you. But my hand is
Metaphorical-
outstretched. No, I'm talking
metaphorical heavy
literally.
burdens
Right,
included.
well,
Give me the fucking facts. Oh my god.
The
What does a man have to do
Mausoleum
to get some facts around it?
Halicarnassus
Good start.
was a tomb built between 350 and 350 BC for Mausolus, a native Anatolian from Caria and a satrap in the... I shouldn't have started this because I can't pronounce half these words.
Carrier? I don't know a carrier. Where's that?
Achaemenid Empire.
That's not on a map of the world.
So hang on.
And
the,
his
the
sister
first thing that.
wife, Artemisia II of
Oh
Caria.
no, this is getting too hot for TV.
I was
first
going
of
to
all,
grab my
did you say
globe
that
and
this-
try and find it, but my globe was broken recently because it fell off the top of my bookshelf, so I can't do that physical joke anymore.
Thank God for that.
can do
So
globe
you're
jokes.
telling me that this tomb was built for a person called Mausoleus.
Mausolus.
Mausolus.
Sorry. Is that where it comes? Is that where the
I
name
would
Mausoleum comes from?
presume so.
Is this like the first big idea of like, I know, this guy died, we should put him in a big castle that's just for him being dead, and it'll be well cool. And then I was like, you know what, we'll name it after him.
The word
Frank, thank God he wasn't called the Frank. Or
I
something,
believe-
the Frankolium.
I believe Mausoleum was like he went to school and he said, "Hey guys, my name's Mausolus," and his one of his mates just went Mausolus. More like Mausoleum, alright, boys. And then everyone made fun of him, and it just stuck. He couldn't shake the name.
So you're telling me that a school bully in 370 something BC, I don't know how old he was when he died, but you're telling me that a bully was like, I'm gonna make up a word that is an insult now.
Yeah.
I have decreed it, and the whole class went with it to the extent that it actually got willed into existence when he died.
Well, you know what it's like with mnemonic concepts.
And they were all there, like, teary-eyed, like, it's what he would have wanted. Good old Mausolus. He did love that joke about him being a mausoleum, whatever that is. We'll call it a tomb.
Yeah. That's
a wild
classic
story.
Mausolus, but actually
Strange things have happened.
he hated it.
So when did the aliens come in?
Well, he was one.
Well, they obviously met Mausolus at some point.
Whoa, which is it?
Both.
Well, maybe Mausolus was like an envoy from this alien.
There was one aliens, and then there was
And
the
just
other
gonna
aliens.
And then when
the
he
aliens
died,
were like,
the
whoa,
other
I
aliens
find
came
it-
in and were like, hey,
we can build a big
we
box
can build
to
a
put
big
it in.
thing for you.
I find it incredibly
to remember our
insulting
spy,
how
and then we'll leave. You know, we'll leave you this. We'll leave you our dead relative in a big
passing
stone tomb, and
I
we're
think-
gonna go because we got
Just
more
say he was a
important
human.
stuff
Don't
to
you
do.
worry about it.
No, I think it's just incredibly insulting that you think all aliens are the same. They're at different
That's true.
planets. They're at different
I mean, it
aliens.
could have been.
Yeah,
It could
the
have been.
I'm
immediate
sure, you know,
assumption
I'm sure
is that
there are
they
different
both
cultures
come-
within humanity.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
it could be
not-
the same aliens.
The
Yeah.
thing is like, well, yeah.
Mausolus
depends
was
on
from
if Mausolus was an
Mercury.
alien or not.
And the others
I
were
reckon
from
so.
Chad, Jupiter. They were
Chad,
Jupiterians.
But why would
I
they
think
know?
Jupiterians
or,
would be Chads.
you know, I mean, I suppose it's not impossible for them to have just found that Mausolus was another alien from a different planet.
Look,
it was complete
Third
chance, yeah.
planet.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
The
what you say
Venusians
the
turned
pop
up
because
and they were
everyone
like,
has
whoa,
seen
whoa,
how
Do you reckon
much
they ever
of
had like a
this?
meeting of the alien
Sorry.
elders?
I'm
to
sorry,
just-
It's on the moon,
my
definitely. If they were going to
internet
do it,
just-
they'd do it on the moon.
Yeah, I do want to say that
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you say the pop, but everyone has seen how much of an alien racist you are, and just because you're trying to walk it back now doesn't mean that we can't see.
Just
through
wait till you
lies.
get cancelled. Jesus.
Just
I
wait
was
till you get
just trying to
cancelled
do
by
the
space
yes and
Twitter.
improv thing, and now I'm getting shit on for
Now
it.
you're a racist. Well done. Welcome to 2021.
You're on
Matthew.
space. Welcome to 2021, where space Twitter cancels you by hurling a meteorite at your fucking house once it gets 1 million
No.
likes.
We haven't talked even a little bit about this bloody mausoleum. Why is it so cool? Why does it deserve to be on
Well,
the list?
the Mausoleum is kind of a side topic to the jar of Xerxes the First, boys. Yeah, we mentioned him. Woo, Xerxes! Wah!
Why are we mentioning Xerxes?
From
He
Planet
wasn't-
X, boys.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yes,
Of
of
course.
Can you believe
Not
they
just the
got
first.
the
Now
jar
who's the
of
racist?
Xerxes the First inside? Can you believe they
What was
managed to
inside
get
the jar? I don't know. this.
Xerxes the First?
He was in there. It's a big jar.
Yeah, the first person from Planet
Now,
X.
if I remember it correctly, he wasn't the cool one. It was his son that was the cool one.
Yeah, everyone preferred Xerxes the
Xerxes
Second.
tried and failed miserably, and then the second one was like, "I'm gonna do it, but cool."
I mean,
and I'm gonna have a
yeah,
big marble
Xerxes the
throne built
First had
on
some
the
shit.
cliff, and I'm gonna watch the battle like a G.
Mm.
Way cooler.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Whoa,
Xerxes the
that's a
First
lot of
had some
failed
weak
internet.
ass
Whoa.
nicknames, such as yeah, Xerxes the First had some weak ass names such as King of Kings, Great King, King of Persia, King of Babylon, Pharaoh of Egypt, King of Countries. Which king is such a planetary term, whereas
It's not
Xerxes
amazing,
the
is it?
Second was
Yeah,
such
it's
an
small-minded.
intergalactic man.
God Emperor. I mean, what
God
can you do?
Emperor. God Emperor. He destroyed all of those orcs. He split the two humans into different sides, and he favoured his favourite sons, and his other sons fought. And other Warhammer lore that I am unqualified to talk about. He was the dude. He was the God Emperor. You know.
It's pretty sick. It's certainly
Yeah.
not a metaphor for Christ. I don't know where you're getting that idea.
I don't know where I'm getting that idea. I just know that two guys, Tom and Ben, talk about it, and they have a segment called Lorehammer or Warhammer, and it's the only part that I pay any attention to.
I'll tell you what he
Man,
didn't.
don't get us started about Warhammer. I could talk about Warhammer forever. That's a wild one.
I love to talk about
The bloody
Warhammer.
lore for Warhammer is all kinds of facts. It's insane.
I love to do a trilogy
Bonkers stuff.
of the fantasy Warhammer, sci-fi Warhammer, and then one of the other ones, which is basically just additional fantasy or additional sci-fi.
So you could do old fat like the original Warhammer, and then you could do the Age of Sigmar fuckery that they did, and then you could do 40k, which is basically always been reasonably cool.
I know about Old World because that's what the Total War ones are based on.
Yes. Yeah. Have you seen the cool ass? Certainly not Space
Total-
Marines. Storm Eternals. What are they called? Stormcasts.
I thought you were going to say,
Something.
have you seen...
There's a lot of storms involved.
You can say, have you
They
seen
basically,
trailer 2?
in Age of Sigmar, they were like, we really, really need a thing that is easy to paint and basically just Space Marines. Because Space Marines work really... Everyone loves Space Marines. Easily the most iconic part of Warhammer 40k. So we need to do them, but for Warhammer. So what can we do? Stormcast Eternals, that was the name. We're just going to have suits of armour that have big, sort of easy to paint shoulders, but they're not going to be Space Marines. But they are going to be Space Marines.
They're
And everyone will love it. And nobody loved them. They are unloved.
It's like the Cathay. Nobody liked them, and then Total Warhammer 3 were like... Which, by the way, why is it called Total War Warhammer 3 and not Total Warhammer 3? Like, come on.
Too many wars.
You
know that one's a right steel thing,
yeah.
isn't it? Like you have to have Total War in the name.
It's the fact that you have the Cathay, which are like the Chinese being introduced, which, you know, let's be real here, it's for the Chinese market. No one's.
I didn't know that. Are they in Warhammer? I did not.
They're like a very, because of the Total Warhammer 1 and 2 have done all of the significant old world races that now you're getting to the point of like they're doing the Chaos Demons, they're doing the Kislev, which are the Russians, which is like a small group. The DLC is probably going to be the Chaos Dwarfs, which is like the one faction people care about, and they're like, we're going to do the
Chaos. They've waited until Warhammer 3 to do.
Well, the Chaos Dwarfs, because it's like they're doing, instead of doing the Chaos Demons as a because the way they're doing it is that like they've done Wood Elves and everything else, but with the Chaos Demons, with how they're positioning it now, the Chaos Demons are no longer a faction, but the 4 Demon Lords are individual factions now.
Yeah.
So but basically, in one game, they're putting all 4 demons, their separate factions in.
They're like easily the second most iconic thing about Warhammer.
I think it's demons. Like number 1 was
the only thing that's in both Warhammer 40k and like medieval stuff.
Well, it is. I think it was like the first one was orcs and like humans, elves, dwarves, orcs was the first one. The second one was the Skaven, which they're really trying to push as like the baddies.
Oh yeah, everyone fucking loves Skaven.
So the third one, it's like they've done the orcs, they've done the Skaven. The big one that's left out has been the Demons of Chaos.
It's crazy
because the Beastmen were done as DLC, but like the demons were too big to be DLC. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm really excited for the Cathay, but as was the point of this sidetrack, is that I'm really excited, and every single person I've seen react to it is just like, yeah, the Cathay don't have that much in there. I'm not too excited because we don't know anything about them. Whereas I'm there like, it's new shit. I don't know anything about it, so I'm on the same level as everyone else on this shit.
The last time that 40k did a new faction was the fucking Tower, and they've been out for ages. That was like turn of the 2000s.
My favourite bit is everyone wants Araby, but they don't do Araby because Araby is insanely racist in terms of its depiction.
I'm surprised that they've managed to do anything that isn't deeply racist.
Well, Cathay wasn't explored that much.
They've had some problematic moments. Those Games Workshop fellas. That's been some racist lore at times.
Yeah, it's our little bit to go up with Sasquatch or Sasnotch. It is. Oh Warhammer, you problematic boy.
Oh god, it was so racist. That they do subhuman races. They actually they still, I think they've changed the name, but they do subhumans now. In Warhammer 40k, they do the like Ogrins, which are just like these big fucking beefcake humans. They're basically like, if if you culled all the human beings except for the bodybuilder like meat cakes, like Dwayne Johnson and all that, and forced them lot to repopulate the Earth, you'd have this race, and they're just big and beefy. But it's
big and beefy.
The law's pretty weird about those guys. It's like they say the word subhuman a bit too often. Anyways, mausoleums.
I know totally exactly what you mean.
Mausoleums. I think we've said everything we need to.
But we haven't said what is it. I know it's a mausoleum, but what is it? Why is it cool?
Whilst you two went off on that tangent, I had a bit of a read up.
Did you do some fact finding? I'm glad.
It turns out Mausolus was this super extravagant ruler who lived with his wife Artemisia, and he moved the capital to this city Halicarnassus, made lots of big statues and elegant things, and had this big tomb designed for when he died. He died, so his siblings came in and were like, okay, it's Mausolus. We know what kind of a guy he was. He would definitely want this to be he's literally drawn out the plans. We got to do it. 2 years later, his wife died. Got the thing finished. Now his name is what we tend to use, like Mausoleum became ubiquitous with big overhead, above ground burial site, because that was just Mausolus. That was classic Mausolus.
Just Mausolus things.
No, isn't this story quite similar to the Taj Mahal story, where it was the same deal, where like there was a very extravagant, wealthy man, and he died before he could have it completed, and then his wife finished it, and she also died, and then they both were in there, and then it melted because it was chocolate. I can't remember. That was something to do with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think, but I can't remember.
Yeah, and then it was destroyed by.
Taj Mahal
there was a chocolate thing.
Taj Mahal is
there was a whole thing.
Kicking. It's still there.
Yeah, but there was a whole thing about it being built out of chocolate, and then it starts to. I vividly remember the scene where it starts to melt on their heads, and then no one thought, we're in India, it's quite hot. Let's not build it out of chocolate. And also, it just starts to melt. It just starts to melt halfway through. Like they're right at the end of construction, and then it melts.
The Johnny Depp, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, where
it's got to be that one.
Yeah,
because it was CG.
Yeah, I think that was just for the movie.
I know that.
Don't think.
Play with me in this. No, please believe that I know that isn't real. All right.
I can't believe.
Did you think I thought that?
I wasn't quite sure where
you think that was real, Jack?
Yeah. I thought the Indians were like, let's build a fucking castle out of chocolate, and
I'm pretty sure
it will work
Mausolus
until we finish the thing, and then it will melt.
Or the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie.
Also, yes.
That's why I got confused.
Go and have a scream in the corner. Go off you go.
Do you think that was real? So clearly CGI. I feel like today's been a real day of discovery for me. I don't know how to feel about it.
You have a cry in the corner. Where is this bloody mausoleum?
Anyway, we've
fucking...
We've talked about this mausoleum for 20 minutes, and in the sake of time, we need to move past this mausoleum.
We talked about Warhammer. So...
Yeah. Where is it?
It's in Bodrum, Turkey. Take a trip somewhere. It's over the Alps, through the underwater canals of Doneland, and then you end up in Bodrum.
Can't really just go travelling.
There's
a little bit of a sort of
apart from obviously the pyramids of Giza, it was the last of the wonders to actually stay
destroyed by earthquake.
It was the last one to be destroyed of the destroyed ones.
12/15th century. Yeah.
Does it look cool?
No, we don't know. We haven't seen it because it got destroyed before we were born.
There's no artist representation.
Like, it's just this.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, it looked all right.
I mean, yeah.
It's a mausoleum. Let's be real, guys.
You know the Acropolis. And the
that
Parthenon.
looks well cool.
It's like an over-the-top Parthenon.
That looks deeply cool.
It's a mausoleum.
Yeah.
You've seen one mausoleum, you've seen them all. If we're going
Why
to
do
be
you keep
honest.
pronouncing it so hideously wrong? It's got a fucking.
When you've seen one mausoleum, you've seen them all.
No, don't do it.
When you've seen mausoleum, you've seen one all.
Mausoleum. That's a different dictator.
No,
can't do that one.
Can't do that one.
Anyway, it's in Bodrum, Turkey, just over the English Alps. underneath the underwater cavalcaves of Atlantean, Donnelland, and you get to Bodrum. It was destroyed by earthquakes in the 12th to 15th century AD. And it was made in 351 BC. Old news! I've heard all of this. I looked it all up with my eyes when we were talking about Warhammer.
It's pretty cool. Last thing I'll say about the mausoleum. I like that the design is like a sort of tier. Imagine a squared wedding cake, right? And then columns on the top chunk. But picture this, viewers. You got life-size statues around the first tier. That's basically like eye level, and then you've got guys that are like 1.5 to 2 times the size of a human being, like on the second tier, which is already pretty high up. And above that you've got bigger lads, and above that you've got even bigger lads who are, judging by this one image that I'm looking at and not any of the others, easily 4 times as tall. What a flex that is to be like, nah, I don't need human statues. Boring. We'll do big statues, and then we'll just continue to top it off until you get to me right at the top, on a chariot, probably made of gold, way up there. And how tall is this thing?
I can say, if you want to picture it even better, people at home, go onto your goddamn phones and look up the Mausoleum of Alexandria, and you can see a picture.
It's pretty wacky.
Anyway, I'm bored of this. So, let's go to let's find something to brighten our moods. Let's go on to the Lighthouse of Alexandria, which I believe, circling back round to stuff we've discussed earlier, was made by the famous architect and all-round favourite boy, Sigmar.
General Grievous. Oh.
Yeah. Was it
Was he a different one?
I think General Grievous was like the original lighthouse, because that was a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas this is the Lighthouse of Alexandria, which was made by Sigmar.
You know what it was? He had so many bloody lightsabers kicking around.
Yeah, you know what? It's so hard to do yes and when you do your answer simultaneous to somebody else's completely different answer, that you have to try and fit it in somewhere.
I'll take a punt. I thought I'd fuck the fiction.
He just stood there at the top of his tall tower.
I don't know. I've just assumed at this point, and I want to say this just so we're all on the same page. We've put in Warhammer, so I think we go full on Warhammer meme lord with because it just makes sense at this point that we just try and tie it all into Warhammer.
They are technically aliens.
I hope this gets cut, because otherwise people would see. Have a secret little episode, a mini-sode that I didn't intend to release of Behind the Joke, which unfortunately don't have Perixia here to host today. Behind the bit. Did you know this episode they focused on Warhammer for all of their humour? You might notice from the entire podcast.
Well, I'm looking at. Oh man, someone made a mausoleum of.
I know a lot about the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
It's in Minecraft.
But really, in order to get into terms of the Lighthouse of Alexandria, I need to know about Sigmar, and I don't know much about Sigmar, not knowing a lot about Warhammer. So I'm hoping that I know that myself, and I know that one of us is also not very well equipped with Warhammer. So
yes,
the pot, who is Sigmar? Who is Sigmar the pot?
Right, okay.
What is a Sigmar?
Follow with me.
Okay. Shall I act this out?
Okay.
Do I need to draw out
there's not much acting, honestly. It's a simple equation. It's a very simple equation. Jesus. Here.
Jesus.
Right. Just get Jesus.
Visualizing him. He's got a crown on. Of thorns.
Violence.
Got violence here.
Got violence.
Okay.
And Jesus.
Is violence as big as Jesus?
Oh,
is violence
arguably bigger.
Arguably. Okay,
Tres violence.
I'm doing double the size for violence.
Tres violence. Okay. Now, smush together.
Smush. So he's also enveloped in it with the size of the violence as well as.
And then give him a big ass warhammer, and make him a comet.
And make him a comet. In Total Warhammer 2, there's a comet, but I think it was just a Skaven.
Got 2 tails.
I think it was just a Skaven in a.
If the comet's got 2 tails, then it's the comet of Sigmar.
His hammer. It did have 2 tails.
That is the comet that signifies the end of the world.
And
It
then
is-
in the
it is to do
third
with
game,
Sigmar.
the Chaos team. Oh my god, I understand.
It all makes
Total
sense.
War. I
Is
do a
dropping
lot
into
more.
this boy's
And the
Pieces
game,
are
guys,
falling.
did you know Total War Warhammer makes sense? There's actually something going on
Can you
there.
fucking
I think
believe
there's
that?
something going on here, lads. And like it ties into Age of Sigmar eventually.
I've
That's
got a
really
feeling that
crazy.
there's an overarching plot in this game.
Some sort of campaign setting or something.
It's like it's got an already established lore that it's building off of. That's crazy.
Like the flashing of the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
So
which
why
is
did
great. It's just
Sigmar
put
make
the
The
the?
light bulbs
So-
here and
bulbs
there, yeah.
moment.
So was he the comet?
No, he's not literally.
Or
the
was
comet,
he?
he's
Or
just
is it like Jesus
well, maybe
and
he
like
sort of
he was
becomes a comet, I
born
can't remember.
underneath the comet? And three
He was
wise
a
men
man,
came.
or he's like a really. He's basically okay. I'm not really. They have the God Emperor in War 40k, and they were like, well, we need this, but not that, so we'll just do it again. And he's just the sort of embodiment of like mankind.
I
So
guess
sort of,
I guess the issue
he's
is
like-
is that
he's humans as a god.
Sigmar could have been the God Emperor, but because they set 40k before old fantasy, they had to invent.
There
a
is a
new
link.
person.
There is actually a link.
Yeah, isn't 4K
there is
first? 40k's first.
No. So I can't remember specifically.
Because of
I don't,
course
I don't
it
know if there's.
fucking is.
I can't remember if it's ever said, but it is just one planet that exists. But
The assumption-
way you get to it,
Yeah.
there is one dude, there is one character from 40k who got lost in the warp. He's something called a Grey Knight, which is like a space marine, but even better, and specifically designed to fight against demons. And this Grey Knight man got stuck in the warp, which is where the demons live, which is like a sort of parallel universe. And he gets stuck in the warp for so long that he ends up finding his way out of the warp by going to this demon lord's labyrinth looking sort of house. I think it was Nurgle, don't quote me. And he finds his way out, and it's never really like firmly quoted and like
And
definitely said.
he comes out
It's
of the
basically
Lighthouse of
guaranteed. He finds-
Alexandria.
Yeah, he comes out, and he's like, "Whoa, it's Egypt, man!" And they're like, "Whoa, man, you've got a big
There's a
suit of
big
mechanized
light
armor. Are
behind
you
me,
good?"
isn't there?
And he's like, "Mate, I can do lighthouses. You don't have one. You look like you need one. We have them in my world. So do you want lighthouses?" And they're like, "Yeah, fuck, I'll give it a whirl. I don't know."
What's your name? And
you seem cool.
he needs a quick alias. He goes, Andrea? Alexandria.
Yes.
Yes. We'll call this big building that just appeared after you.
That's certainly why it's called that, and not because it's in a city that's already called Alexandria. Well, no, anyway, it's not important. Yeah. So that happened, and he comes out into the other Warhammer, like the Warhammer world, and it's never officially said, but like the character exists in both places, and it's like, oh cool, he's there, it's him. It's literally just a Grey Knight from fucking Space Marines,
Just a guy
who's
with a
just
gun.
kicking around, battering all these bloody men. Well, no, he's already in like silver, like massive Space Marine knight armor, and it looks more like a knight than a Space Marine does. So like,
Yeah.
he could be he's a sort of character design where like he could get away with it, and they would be like, he's just very magic, I guess. I don't know. And he just batters the shit out of demons left, right.
He's
and
got
centre
his
in
magic
old times.
iron log where little seeds fly out into people's skulls. It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got some big enchanted hammer that just explodes demons when they look at it or something. I can't remember. But yeah.
Oh, I can't
But
remember.
listen.
Thank God.
And he probably made the what's it called? The lighthouse? I was about to say
Lighthouse of
lightsaber.
Alexandria.
It's
So, and he named it after Sigma, who comes later.
Whoa.
Which hold
That's
on
big.
to Sigma because we're going to get into Sigma in another.
not- we'll talk more about him. I don't know anything
Wonder.
about Sigma.
Well, I hope you do
I don't know.
because we are.
I know a bit about a bit of 40k. I don't know much about the Warhammer setting. I know a little about 40k, a fair bit, but like I know bits of bits, not like enough to Anyway, this is a tall lighthouse.
It is
It
a tall
tall
lighthouse. And to think a Space Marine came out of that. How big's a Space Marine?
Not that tall.
Not that tall.
They're about 10 feet tall.
10 feet tall.
We're in the armor.
It was a
They're like 8 feet tall people.
And this
And
is
then-
this
and
is
then you put them in the armor and you
330
gain a foot
feet
or so.
tall. So if we
yeah,
had
this is
33
380.
on each other's
This
shoulders.
is like 33 Space Marines stood on top of each other. Probably
Yeah.
a bit more.
Yeah, as long as they're standing on like the top helmet, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. On the top of the jetpack thing that they have on the back. That isn't a jetpack, just looks like a jetpack.
Mm-hmm.
Except for some of them. Some of them do have jetpacks. I'm not making this clear. It's not important. Anyway, big tall lighthouse. Did it do the job? That's the question. With lighthouses, so with mausoleums, I feel like, it kind of can't not do the job. It did fall down. I suppose that is a failure of doing the job.
Well,
but then again, the job for a mausoleum is pretty difficult, right? Yeah, but
Which is,
when
it's
you're
an
designing a thing to
occupational
house a
hazard
person.
at that point.
What, of being dead?
Of being a lighthouse.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the mausoleum. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, the mausoleum fell down because of natural disaster.
Which a mausoleum, credit where it's due, they were old and it did probably last a while. But come on, man, it's been a stand forever. Like, it's housing a dead person. Dead people don't stop being dead, so it's got to be there forever. Granted, hard, but
or the pyramids. It's
pyramids
literally got dead people in it. Well,
you know what I like? If you look at the
aliens,
studies in 2006 on the lighthouse, technically, they've actually underestimated the height of the lighthouse. The lighthouse is like 1.5 times taller, if this image on Wikipedia is to be believed.
So what's the quoted height and what's the potential height?
According to Wikipedia, the heights vary about 15% from 103 meters to 118 meters.
That's really fucking tall.
Which is pretty big, and it's got a 30 by
How
30
tall's the
meter
pyramid?
square base, apparently.
How tall's the tallest pyramid? Is it 100 meters tall?
I don't think I don't know.
Man, Google just read mind. That's what I was going to say. It's just, it knows what I'm going to search before I even try. Yeah, now so see the pyramid, the big one is 140 meters tall.
Ah.
So it wasn't mad, but it's pretty mad.
It's still pretty big.
It's pretty big.
It does have the Great Lighthouse has a sister lighthouse though, I believe, that is in Spain.
You didn't seem too certain on that. Do you want to double check?
I think you're making this up.
You seemed very
There's a lighthouse out in Spain. I'm sure it's Spain,
probably. I reckon you're right about that.
Where's Spain?
that has been like it's basically, it looks like what the Great Lighthouse would have looked like, but it's just smaller.
So you're saying there's a small lighthouse in Spain that looks like a lighthouse?
Yeah, because I remember going and seeing it.
I think this is just a weird modified memory of 5-year-old Matt on a Spanish holiday. He goes to Spain. He goes, "Daddy, there's a lighthouse. Is that like the lighthouse I was reading about in my encyclopedia back home?" And his dad goes, "Yeah, whatever, son."
I remember being told at the time by like a tour guide that it was something to do with. It had something to do with the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
The talk I go, hey guys, so this see this what it's got something to do with the Lighthouse of Alexandria. I don't know. Anyway, there's a beach this way. Let's keep going, okay?
Gift shop. Anyway, moving on.
That was the tour.
This was like 10 years ago.
That was 10, which
That's
makes
long
all
enough
the
ago
difference.
that I don't believe a fucking thing you said.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something. I think it's in Bilbao. I think it's Bilbao way.
Bilbao. Don't worry, let's go on to Google Maps. Let's find
Telling me that
Bilbao.
a man called Bilbao took a crack at building
Bilbao
a second.
is definitely in Spain.
Bilbao
Okay.
Maps. He's Tony Bilbao is a British television writer.
Man, you can't get anything right today.
So there's a Bilbao Abstract Co. in America. There's
Nope.
Dr. Alex
That's not-
Bilbao.
I don't think Bilbao's a real place. I think this is all
Ronan
a little
Bilbao
dream of 12-year-old
Fitness
Matthew.
in Ireland.
How have you spelt Bilbao is probably...
Bilbow.
No, see, it's Spanish. Of course it's not going to be spelt like
How
that.
do you spell it in Spanish then?
Bilbao.
Bao.
Yeah.
Bao. Bow, like a bow bun.
Yes, like a bow bun.
Well, I've got Bilbao. So it is on the coast, but the main city isn't
good
that
start.
close. Bilbao Lighthouse. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's giving me. Well, I've got one lighthouse. I've got two lighthouses here, and I'm gonna tell you if that's how the Lighthouse of Alexandria looks. I can tell you, they were well ahead of time, because that looks. One of these looks like a modern one, and one of these looks like one that was made in World War II, and has a. And if you're going to say, Matthew, what about the World War II one? Well, I didn't know that windmills had been invented yet.
I don't
Matt,
know.
I
remember going and seeing it, and it was.
You got fucking duped.
Pharaoh de
It's
Gorilla.
possible that the tour guide just straight up lied to me.
You've been
Oh,
fucking
definitely.
snookered by some Spanish tour guide.
In my head, it does. I'm sure it looked somewhat like the
Hey.
kind of
Pharaoh
pictures
de
in-
Gorliz has
in,
an
like, the
attached
reconstructions.
buffet called Lighthouse
What's he gonna
Gorliz. We can go. You can get a takeaway there if you want to order one. See if they deliver across the channel. It's right next to that famous supermarket, Eroski.
Oh yeah, Zeroski. That's like the Asda of Spain.
Also known as the Asda of Spain. Don't you know? Well, a good thing is that in terms of Bilbao itself, I have found a windmill lighthouse.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the
I'm
jury
sorry.
is
The
thoroughly
jury
in,
is in.
and they're saying you're lying.
I'm not lying.
You
this
know-
is
you know
a
what I like?
genuine
I like the
memory.
fact.
You lie.
I like the fact they said it's based on the Mausoleum of Haligernasis, but you'd think that maybe that lighthouse should be within the Mediterranean, but no, it's on the northern coast of Spain, next to France.
It's way up.
So nowhere close.
It could be somewhere else in Spain.
It could be somewhere else in
I saw-
Spain. Why did you have
We're suddenly widening the search.
So you had a tour in Bilbao, Spain, and then you're like, I'm sick of the north of Spain. Let's move down to.
We went down to right down to the south coast of Spain.
Where did you go in the south coast?
I don't remember. It was 10 years ago.
I tell you what, I went to Faro and then all the way round to Lagoa last year in Portugal, and I didn't
Well, if
see
you
any
went to Faro,
lighthouses.
it was probably Faro, because Faro is the same name as the place where the original lighthouse was built, even though it's
Okay.
Faro in
Okay.
Egypt.
Faro. I
rather
didn't
than-
know that it was called the Lighthouse of Faro. I always thought it was called the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
It
Where
is.
it would have been in Alexandria.
Okay. I know what I've found the lighthouse, Matt.
Have you
Don't
found
worry.
the lighthouse?
I've vindicated you. It's the Tower of Hercules, presumably down by like Gibraltar.
So-
because that's the Straits of Hercules.
So what is the? So why do you think
It
the
does look a bit like
lighthouse? Why do you think the
yeah,
Lighthouse of
no.
Alexandria that was made in Egypt? Why do you think that
The
was
tower-
built in Faro, Portugal?
I didn't say it was the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
It's not Faro,
Chris.
Portugal.
Yeah.
I said
what
it
were you
was
saying?
built to look like the Lighthouse of Alexandria, whatever
What-
it was I
Why
saw.
have you brought in Faro? I
And
just
it
said
was
I've
in
been to
Spain.
Faro and I saw no light.
You
I was
said
making
Faro.
a bit. Yeah, I was
Hang
doing
on,
a bit.
wait, why are you guys talking about Faro? 'Cause Faro
I
turns
thought
out-
there might have been there could have been
Faro's in
The,
Portugal.
the Latin
Portugal.
word, the Latin word "farum" is derived from the Greek "pharos" for the Lighthouse of Alexandria, which is, that's either pure coincidence.
That's
'cause I just found that.
crazy. Because
We're just looking at the Tower of
because
Hercules,
that's like the
which is the
second or
lighthouse that
third
he is meant to be
biggest
talking about.
city in Portugal. One second.
Is there actually a Faro in Portugal?
Yes.
Because
Why are you guys
That's
talking
where
about
the
Faro?
airport is.
because the Lighthouse of Alexandria was built
Yeah.
In Alexandria.
in Alexandria, but Alexandria
Yeah.
was connected to a city that already existed there called Pharos.
Yeah.
And it all became
that
one.
That will be why the word is now lighthouse.
Pharos was the actual island that the lighthouse
and
was
it
built
became
on.
synonymous.
Pharo's not on an island. Pharaoh is.
Sorry.
Oh, the Tower of
Not the
Hercules is
one
not
in
on the
Portugal.
south.
I'm talking about the one in Egypt.
Yeah, but
The
that's
Tower
what
of
I'm
Hercules
talking
is in
about.
the north of Spain.
That's where the
It's
word
not-
Pharaoh came from, and now we've gone full circle and we found out Pharaoh has this deeper meaning to it, which now calls into question actual Pharaoh, the city in
Yeah, the Tower of Hercules.
Anyway,
that's
we
the
need to
one I
move
went
on
for.
to the next wonder.
So this isn't far off
we need
Bilbao.
we need to move on to the next.
No, it's
wonder.
not far from Bilbao. It's pretty
need-
close to
Matt,
Bilbao.
I think I'm starting to think that the dream you had was a real dream.
It happened. It's just I got my
The
Tower of
distance,
Hercules
right.
confused with
Okay,
my
Look,
okay,
Lighthouse.
guys,
to be
we-
fair,
we
to be
do
fair, Matt,
need to-
The distance between Galicia and Bilbao is in fact 268 miles. So
I was on a
think
boat,
you got a little
so-
confused.
Now,
quite far.
I think we've learned a lot about that. However, we do need to, in order to actually get all of the, because we were 46 minutes in and we've done 2 world wonders, so we do need to get a move on here.
Right. So,
Okay, we got.
what do we think of the lighthouse? Is it cool? Is it not?
No, not really. I've seen a lighthouse before.
I've seen a
lighthouse.
lighthouse that wasn't the lighthouse, and I thought it was, so it can't be that good. Although imitation's the greatest form of flattery, so
That's it, exactly.
maybe it's
So
my
this-
Right, what's the
favourite.
next one we're doing? I like the Zeus one. What's that
Yeah,
about?
statue of
Whoa,
Zeus.
it's Zeus and he's big.
I was gonna pick the statue of Zeus. Look at us two.
No, I was going to pick the statue.
Oh,
not
what
the
a
statue of Zeus.
coinky
Hang on.
dink. That's nice.
Statue of Zeus.
Statue of Zeus. So the issue I have with the statue of Zeus is that it was originally built inside of a temple, most likely, because that's how
That's
a
a
lot
big
of
ass
these.
temple.
Yeah, it was kind of the idea of a lot of these temples is that temples all over Greece, they would build them and then inside they
Yeah, they'd
make
have
a massive statue out of gold and crystallophantine and all sorts.
Cool shit.
Mhm.
And then they'd be like, "Oi, you're cool. Can I
Yeah.
talk to you
This
now?"
is
Yeah,
this is
it's-
the temple of this person, this god.
Yeah. So the Temple of Zeus had the statue of
Nailed it.
Zeus in, which you know.
They weren't going to have the temple of. You know,
I'm
gonna
the
say
the,
it's-
the
it-
statue of Zeus in it. That'd be confusing.
I'm not too impressed if we've got the statue of Zeus and it's in the Temple of Zeus, and the temple it's in isn't that great that it's not got its own kind of like the temple and statue of Zeus at Olympia. Like,
It should be the temple because I'm looking at this temple and it's massive.
yeah.
Because the statue's pretty massive.
Well, I
So-
think you've got the Parthenon and such, and like the statue of Zeus was kind of built to kind of compare, but because they couldn't get like the artistry to do all of the
The
friezes and
rights.
metopes and all of the bells and whistles, that it just kind of looked like a bit of a disappointment, you know.
They really wanted to move away from the. Oh, hang on. What's
Yeah.
this?
What happened
Hello.
to all of the elephantine?
It's a cat.
Hello.
Bastard, you caused a right mess. She did a fucking poo on my
She
bed.
did a
and-
fucking ginormous poo,
God.
and it was
It wasn't poo. You know that smell that cats make, like that scent
poo.
that they do. It's kind no, it's like a sort of weird cat smell. It's kind of
Sigmar.
It's like a cat fart.
Nah, well, it's worse. You know, it's like sort of fishy and weird. Turns out that
Sigmar.
comes out their ass, and Shadow likes to do them so big that they are literally just poos.
Wow. I like the fact.
Fucking reek.
Charlie.
I like the fact that
did the
you
poo.
have given cat parts a different name.
No, it's not cat
It's
farts.
not.
It's
It's not.
from
It's
cat
different.
fart.
It's like. Is it
It's
like
just
a
like a scent
pheromone
thing that they
thing?
do. Yeah, but it comes out their asshole, and so it's like a bit. It's just a bit of shit. But it stinks.
Okay,
Charlie
guys.
did the
It's
poo
not
in
like
the
I
poo
first
smell,
place
believe
because
you.
He didn't like the snow.
Get a load
He
of
didn't wanna
these
go
guys,
outside
right?
'cause it had
They
snowed
think
so-
cat farts have a
Yeah.
fancy name. Pretty weird, huh? What are we in? Typical
right,
millennials,
right,
am I
I hate-
right?
Shut up,
Like a
you
professional,
ass.
he has decided not to walk away and stand at the wall whilst he gives this speech. He's done it to the camera.
He's learning.
Yeah, he's subverting expectation at this point.
I
So,
hate the statue of Zeus.
and
okay?
I
It's
think the
rubbish.
issue is
pretty,
that why isn't
It's rubbish.
the statue of Sigmar Heldenhammer on this list.
Yeah, I think they might have got the name wrong when he was there making it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, have you seen this man?
What,
I think
Zeus?
so.
No,
Not in
fuck Zeus. Sigmar. Sigmar
Again,
Heldenhammer.
not in person.
Not in
Let's have a look at
person.
Sigmar.
Now, I'm just going to say, if I was looking at a statue and I wanted to see some hot bod god, I wanted to, by the way, that's trademark. Nobody else used hot bod god apart from me now. If you want some
That's
hot
an
bod
actual
gods
official
like Sigmar, nobody really cares about Segrich and Bjorn Unburglogen, who are kind of,
Bjorn.
yeah,
Hello, everyone, I'm
Bjorguden,
Bjorn.
It's
Yeah, Sigmar's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I love the fact that can we just point out the fact that Chris couldn't say whatever the Bjorguden thing was, but he could say Chris Cellophantine quite easily.
Crystallophantine.
A word that
yeah,
I just struggled to say
it's like I did
once.
a degree where that word came up many times.
No, that's no excuse because I've played Dungeons and Dragons with you, and I've seen you come up with names yourself and mispronounce them.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you'll never know because I made up the words.
No, I do because you say it wrong two different ways, and then I see it written down, and it's a different thing entirely. And then I Google it and find out it's an actual real word from a different language, and it's not how it's pronounced. So don't give me that crap of I'm the writer. No,
But
not this tiny little shit.
maybe
But what?
if you really think about it, if you really think about it a little bit, you'll find that maybe one of the times I said it right.
He's got his fingers in all the parts. He's covering all bases.
It's a scattershot approach. Absolutely.
He's got his fingers in all the dolphinoid potatoes.
All the dolphinoid pies.
Did you know in the face of Sigma, within moments, once indomitable Orc army was little more than a panicked, fleeing mob when it was up against Sigma? That's pretty crazy.
It's pretty cool. Don't change the fucking subject. We've got you on the ropes,
Remember
alright?
when the Dwarven crown brought forth from Alaric's forge upon his brow declared Sigmar the supreme master of the Empire? Remember the last prophecy? Remember the crown of sorcery? Why did we get into the return of Norse?
Who would win in a fight? Zeus or Sigmar?
Well, is Zeus alive anymore? Pretty dead religion.
No,
Sigmar
he
fucking
already
beat
died,
his
that's true.
ass.
You know what's funny? I reckon there are more believers in Sigmar because there are more nerds than there are believers in Zeus, the real actual god.
Because there's less Greeks and nerds.
Yeah, pretty much. Even like the percentage of Greek, I don't know. There could be some people who still genuinely.
I believe the
actually,
difference is
pay homage
between
to the
90% and 10%, and I think 90% is 9 times more than 10%.
There are not as we all know, this was as done by the
Jesus?
United Nations Census Commission.
Oh,
They
yeah.
figured out they took a census and they found out the world is in fact 90% nerds, 10% Greeks.
Where
Yeah.
did the
So,
Greek
there you have it.
nerds come into, or do they just not exist?
They fall under nerds.
They can't. Yeah, it's nerds first.
Yeah,
Greeks,
nerds first.
unfortunately.
Nerds before
nerds first.
birds, am I right, boys?
Nerds before.
Birds.
I can't think of a Greek thing that rhymes with nerds.
Birds.
So I'm not
It has to be birds
It's
because
nerds
there's
before
no.
There are some Greek
There's no other
birds,
slang that
is
would
true.
rhyme with nerds.
That is,
Right, look, clearly none of us give two shits about this.
that is the
fucking
most
statue.
Yeah, it's not
wearing
making the
incel
list.
thing you have ever said, Christopher. Please
You can't
never
say that.
repeat
You'll get
it.
banned from Twitch. You can't say
Don't
that. You'll
say-
get banned
don't-
from Twitch.
don't
They-
anger
Door
them,
wearing
don't-
simp.
You can't do this. It's all illegal now.
Oh goddamn soggy moist soup. lord. You poggy champion.
This is
Simp.
so-
I bet you like
stop
that
it.
meme where the girl from Kill the
can't be
Girl
pog champ.
says,
He was
I guess
racist,
you
that's
are
all.
my little pog champ, because you're just that much of a fucking simp that you find that on some sort of primal level hot.
No,
Nobody
Chris.
else thinks that. It's
You know what?
just
I'm
you.
worried.
It's just you that thinks that. Nobody else does. You're fucking weird, and everyone knows it. Whenever you're out and you think people are onto you, they fucking are, and I am.
This is right. In 40 years' time, when Chris is an adult with a family and like a career that's like hopefully rock solid, this is going to be the footage someone digs up to cancel his ass. And it's
And
going to
not my
work, because by then
responses.
it's going to be actually a
That's
rude
me,
thing
you
to say.
bastards. I
This is
stand
your
by it
early
now,
career
and
edgy
I
phase.
stand by it in 4 years' time.
Look, man,
What
even
about
James
14?
Gunn got Guardians of the Galaxy temporarily yoinked away from him, alright? So if you think you're bigger than
Yeah.
James Gunn, then you go
Look,
for it.
Yeah.
Look, I don't give a shit, because at the end of the day, if you understand how culture works, you know, at the time of recording, simp is a naughty word, and simps are naughty boys, and you're a bad boy for being a simp. You're a bad boy. You've been banned from Twitch, you naughty
no,
boy.
No. You're not a bad boy for being a simp. You're a bad boy for calling
For
someone.
saying it.
You're the
Look,
bad
I'm only
boy.
going to call people
You're the being
simps
the
who
bad
identify
boy.
as simps. If you're not insulted by the word simp, then you have nothing to worry about. And if you are, wear it on your... Don't fucking cower away. Wear it as a badge of honour, because at least you know what you are, and at least you're confident enough in your skin to stand by that. And some people
I'm just
never
really
do.
hoping
Some
that simp
people...
doesn't mutate into a really
some-
dirty word.
You know what? Some people decide to run in politics against gay rights, and then eventually there is a scandal where it turns out they've been fucking their male secretary the entire time, and you are 10,000 times better than that man, because at least you can be yourself. And that's where I stand, so cancel me on that logic, you little shit.
What I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna rip this entire section from the podcast, but I am gonna make it into a string of TikTok videos.
Yeah.
So because that way it will go viral.
Put it into TikToks and name them part 1. The truth comes out.
It's gonna be a long section. I don't know how many minutes worth of content you gave me there, but it's gonna be fat. Just you wait. You're gonna get cancelled so fast.
The
Anyway.
Temple of Artemis.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
rid of
If the
That
Temple
one's
of
boring.
Artemis is so great, where's the
They're not
statue of Artemis?
Well, no, the statue is inside. It's just this time the temple was considered just cool enough to bother
Yeah,
putting on the list.
which doesn't say
Unlike
great, because
Zeus.
if it was a cool temple but they didn't have anything equally cool to put in, I mean, if we had the Temple of Zeus and the statue of Zeus in the same list, or the Temple of Artemis and the statue of Artemis, and by the way, which one are we even talking about? Because this motherfucker got destroyed and then rebuilt and then destroyed again. So are we doing the first one or the second one? Like,
Yeah, I'm seeing two very different
Yeah, it
pictures.
was
here.
rebuilt
come on,
twice.
man.
Once
Yeah.
after a flood, and 300 years later.
Which, by the
after an act of
way,
arson, somebody burned
live in
the
Greece.
entire temple down.
How do you burn down stones? What?
How do you get your temple flooded to that degree? You live in goddamn Greece. Water is everywhere. You bathe in olive oil.
Never mind. How do they
How do
burn
you
down
burn
a
stone?
stone column?
How do you burn stone? With a lot
Explain.
of fire.
America, explain.
America,
This
explain.
is like. This is some conspiracy level shit.
Obama,
This is like
what did you do?
Melt steel beams. Like, how do you do this? How do you burn down a
So apparently,
million?
Typical
What
Obama.
what they decided to do. Okay. So apparently, the second. So the what is it? The second. Yeah, the second. No, the second temple.
By the way,
Was made of
was
if I
it
actually
was
get
made of wood.
cancelled for
Yeah,
saying
exactly. It was made
Yeah.
of wood. It was.
That's the
if
short answer.
if
You're
I
about to
get
give me a long
cancelled
explanation,
for
but really
making
it
an Obama joke when the
It was
Thanks
made of-
Obama
it was
meme
made of
happens, I'm
grape
saying
wood.
this for the future, then I'm going to be livid, because Thanks Obama was a
Why are you
meme
worried
for
about
a
this?
thousand.
This is not what
Because
you
you've
get cancelled for.
you've brought it up now, so now I have
Chris,
to think.
you're more likely to get cancelled for talking shit about Sigmar than you are talking shit about Obama.
I will get cancelled. It'll be the thing you least expect. It'll be like,
So is it
don't
the-
you know some people actually have fetishes for their socks? Why do you think socks were shit, you little bastard? You're being cancelled now by space Twitter, and the fucking laser beams heading to your face, and a
The
million
sequel
likes.
to Twitter is coming for your ass.
Space Twitter. Goddamn space
Apparently-
Twitter.
Apparently, the burning
Spacer.
of... They basically set fire to the roof. It was a man named Herostratus. Apparently, there's a term known as
Typical.
herostratic flame, which means anybody who's seeking attention at any cost. His name got banned for a while, but then Theopompus mentioned it once, and now it's cool again. I guess.
Just like modern society,
And-
there's some words we can't say now, and eventually we'll be able to say them again because that's how culture develops and evolves.
If you can
we just
survive,
need-
if you
we-
can survive the cancel period,
If you-
maybe you'll come back
you
with
just
simp as a
need,
cool
you
thing.
just need another a modern day Theopompus to rock
When
up
Theo
and be
Pompous
like,
says, "Call me
"Hey,
Carson," all will be
Simp is
forgiven.
cool again. apparently, the destruction coincided with the birth of Alexander the Great.
Wow.
To be fair,
Jesus.
you could
he an
say
alien?
that with
And apparently,
Greek life.
it was believed at the time that Artemis was too busy preoccupied with the delivery of baby Alexander to worry about her own burning temple.
Yeah. Could you say that
Right, okay, I do have to go in.
Greek fire might be responsible because we don't really know how that works, and it was able to set fire to water, and I just love the
That's a
fact
bit.
they made Greek fire, and they're like, you know what, future generations could use
think it was
this, so
able-
let's never write this down.
Now, Chris, I don't think it was able to set fire to water.
Well-
I think it was able to be a fire on top of the
But
water.
yeah,
Those are two
it's-
very different
it's
things.
Probably the flammable thing was.
I
less
didn't know
dense
you were
than
about
the
in
water.
ancient Greece. So how do you know this?
I'm just saying that the Greeks, if the Greeks, the island-based Greeks, found a way to set fire to water, we would be living in a slightly different world.
Tell you what, it probably is. It's,
Shit, we set fire to the fucking Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
Gate off the Atlantic.
We
Quick,
don't
we're
know.
fucked.
Maybe that's what happened to Atlantis. It burned down in the water.
It actually burned.
It was made of
Not a lot
wood.
of people know that.
They made it
It was
like.
all made of wood and
It was a
Greek fire.
floating city
Silly
made of
combination.
wood.
Right, this cat's going to do a massive poo, so I have to go.
Okay. Well, whilst you go, let's talk about the next world wonder because
I've got to go for a
we
wee.
gotta. No, I'll talk to everyone at home about the next wonder. Whilst you all go. Welcome to the Astral Fisher Hour, where some hot-ass, single-focused boys talk about some of the things affecting you at home right now. We've talked about the Lighthouse of Alexandria, the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, the statue of Zeus, and the Temple of Artemis. But let's get on. I know everyone's going to have stuff to say about the Hanging Gardens, because believe me, boys, we have been there. We've been there at the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, in Babylon, near the present-day Hilla Babili province in Iraq. Let us talk about the Colossus of Rhodes, because there is a man who does not need a temple to contain him. He's letting ships through and fro. The one thing I don't understand about the Colossus of Rhodes, and forgive me for saying this because this might be a completely foolish thing to state, but sometimes you see the statue of Rhodes as a statue on a pedestal where nothing can really go between his legs other than people walking through. But other times you see the Colossus of Rhodes with two, and these are chopsticks, don't worry lads, two legs kind of outstretched side to side. And they kind of reach up in the middle, and then you have this man, and he's holding a torch in his hand, and the ships swim through the underside of his groin. And I'm thinking, come on guys, do we know what it is? To be fair, the picture I'm looking at on Wikipedia is an 1800s interpretation. Let's ask our boy, Loganator, the
That's
pot.
me.
In some artistic depictions of the Colossus of Rhodes, it is on a singular pedestal, but in other artists' interpretations, both of his legs are on either side of a wharf where ships sail in to get into the dock and sail out of between. So the question is, are the ships sailing beneath thine groin, or are they sailing past thine man with thine holy torch?
Well, it depends on if it was on one or two plinths, doesn't it?
I think it's on 2 plinths, but some artist interpretations say that it was only on the 1 plinth, and it changes a lot. And the fact there are different drawings, I think it's 2 separate plinths.
I think, yeah, well, it's either that the artist who was drawing it at the time didn't see any boats sailing through the 2 plinths, and so didn't recognise that it was 2 plinths, because he was too busy focusing on the drawing of the Zeus Colossus.
I think that's a pretty major mistake to make.
Or
I think you notice a body of
or-
water between 2 plinths.
Well, it depends on the angle that you drew it from.
True.
Or it's that the guy who drew or woman who drew 2.
Let's not kid ourselves, Matthew. If it was a woman, we'll never know, because a man took credit of it, and now it is lost to the times of history. So you can just say he, because all women have been eradicated from the history books.
That's such a bad. Oh dear.
It's the truth, Matthew. It's the unfortunate truth of history.
I know. It was
So you shouldn't feel bad.
It was such a terrible joke that I tried to make.
Yeah. Cancel Herodotus for inventing history in the first place to facilitate an area of study that can produce such rampant sexism.
Or it was the guy who drew the 2 plinths saw a body of water. Maybe it was like a V-shaped plinth.
Mm-hmm.
So no one could actually pass through it, but the plinths followed the thighs to the knees and down, to support it up. And there was a body of water there, but there was no through passage. And it is just an error because nobody could draw it from behind unless they were on a boat. And the boat would probably rock too much because of the water of the sea. The water of the sea.
I think I understand. I think I've got it. I think I've got it, boys. So I think during the reign of Hadrian, basically they wanted to re-erect the Colossus, but an oracle said no. But according to Sudan, the Rhodians were called Colossians because they erected the statue on the island, and I think they erected a smaller statue on a singular plinth after. Then again, I'm just doing this reading off Wikipedia, so it could be that I'm getting the complete wrong end of the stick. But the fact that there is conflicting information about which one is which, it would make sense that they re-erected a smaller one, not to replace the original one, and then that smaller one got destroyed as well.
It collapsed, although parts of it were apparently preserved. And in accordance with a certain oracle, the Rhodians did not build it again.
Here we go. The scholar generally agree that anecdotal depictions of the Colossus straddling the harbour's entry point has no historical or scientific basis, but the monument's actual location is a matter of debate. Between 2 pillars now stand at the Mandraki port. This is in they might remake the Colossus bestriding the 2 pillars, which would only cost $283 million.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Statue would include a culture centre, a library, an exhibition hall, and a lighthouse. Beat that, Lighthouse of Alexandria, all powered by solar panels. In 2018, no such plans have been carried out, and the website of the project went offline. Yeah. And a little known fact is that in the cartoon show DuckTales, when they talk about the lost city of Ithaquac, there used to be the Colossus of Duckopolis, which straddled its entrance to guide ships to the otherwise unseen city.
Yep, that is exactly what I have just read on Wikipedia.
Yeah, wow, it's like we're getting our information from a similar place. Crazy. Yeah, I think, we've gotten through like the weak ass source, and I think the Colossus of Rhodes is really where things start to get real. It's this big colossus. People say it wasn't straddling the harbour, but I think we all know the truth. I think we all know the aliens were competent to that. I think we all know that that's what was going to happen.
This was going to be my question earlier, is where did the aliens come into all of this? But, they were too busy focusing on whether or not Colossus should be, the Colossus of Rhodes should be. I keep calling him Colossus. It was a statue for Helios, the sun god. But he should.
Yeah.
They were too busy deciding whether he needed one plinth per leg or 2 legs, 1 plinth.
Yeah, I've got something with the Colossus here. Can you pick a number between 1 and 26 for me?
16.
16. Okay, brilliant. And I do need one between 1 and 7 as well.
4.
4. Welcome to the surprise edition of Sasquatch or Sasnotch whilst we wait for Jack OW to come back. And we are here with the pot, or shall I call the Poe orangutan? Or the orangutan Poe, as some people call it. So, how do you feel about being a Poe orangutan?
I'd like to know more about the orangutan.
You want to know more about the orangutan or the Poe orangutan? Or both?
The mythical creature, Chris.
The mythical creature. Well, there's always a chance. So apparently you attack calves in their stalls and destroy the vegetation on the banks of the Oglio, which apparently around Italy. The hunting ground proved futile, and soon the story became legend. 3 young and beautiful girls are sunbathing on the beach of the river Oglio when suddenly they see something scary emerge from the bush. It was at least 4 feet, was covered in dense fur, massive and dark, declared one of the 3 swimmers to the journalists. It looked like a big monkey. We took a big fright, feared it would attack us. In a hurry we grabbed our clothes and we ran away, reaching the main road in a few moments for the town and the beach. Fortunately, the monster has come back. What? I think that's because some tourists. It looks like a normal orangutan, but it walks on 2 feet more often than an original orangutan. And I guess it also eats cows. And it's also in Italy instead of where orangutans normally are.
Yeah, that was my first concern about this, was that it's in Italy and not.
Yeah.
Is it
A fandom
Borneo?
user says maybe it's a more evolved orangutan, except that it's in Africa. And then Bingo Da Gorilla says orangutans live in Borneo and Sumatra in Indonesia.
Oh, look at that. I know everything about orangutans. I got both countries correct.
Yeah. You're an orangutan man. You're the orangutan man.
It is my cryptid of.
I guess the only fair thing now is to do the general rules, and you have to pick out my cryptid for Sasquatch and Sasnot. So look at me, consider it, chew on it, think about it. Between 1 and 26, where do you think I am at the moment?
You, sir,
Me.
are a solid
So,
9.
a 9. Oh, controversial choice. Don't even need to pick another one because there's only one thing in 9. So, it is Indrid Cold.
Who's that? That's a woman.
Indrid Cold, commonly known as the Smiling Man, so not a woman. That's considering most cryptids are not gendered, that's the most definitive it could have possibly been. An allegedly humanoid entity. Name comes from his tendency to smile at those who encounter him, and he still visits West Virginia to his day. Humanoid appearance, commonly associated with UFO activity and sometimes believed to be an alien. It is possible that he is connected with the Men in Black. He is described as being over 6 foot tall. Wow, that's crazy. And wearing a reflective green suit with a black belt. A dark complexion and small beady eyes set far apart, which, looking at the image, his eyes aren't set that far apart, if we're going to be honest.
This was just a man.
That could fly with his wings, and also doesn't have any nose, ears, or hair, which, again, looking at the picture, doesn't seem correct. In a second known appearance, he had a blue suit instead of green, but still retained his reflective properties. Also had perfectly natural slicked back hair, a coat with top 2 buttons undone. 1, 2. Oh, I've got my 2 top buttons undone. And having pants lighter than the coat, but still the same material. Yeah, that seems about right. Also described as being quite tan. No.
This is not a cryptid. This is just a con man who made people think he could fly. I apologise for the crunching.
Oh, don't worry. I really did.
It's not you that I'm worried about. It's not you that I'm worried about, unfortunately.
I'm worried that you're worried, and that's worrying.
I know who's going to have a problem with this, though.
I know who's going to have a problem with this, and his man is Purple Walls McGee. And with his Orwellian might, Jack Orwell will be clamping down 1984 style on this entire segment. He will be like, no! They were talking about the Colossus of Rhodes without me. How dare they? And you want to know the truth, my good Potts.
What's the truth?
It's because he's worried. He's worried. He wants to, you know. He wants to fit in. He wants to be involved. And he's going to look at this and he's just like, why have these boys done this? And the only answer I can give you, because it takes you fucking hours to shit. Go see a goddamn doctor. That'll have to be blipped out if this does make it in. I'm very sorry. I don't want to disclose your medical records to the fucking internet. Please bleep that. But fact remains, that is the reason he's like, I know these boys love me. If only my redacted would stop playing up. You know what? You could say that his redacted is so anomalous that you could pop it on the SCP Foundation website. It would be containment class safe, certainly.
I don't know if it's that abnormal to...
Actually, no, it's Keita, because it's pretty uncontainable, because he has to at some point, you know. Because it's not a danger level, it's how containable the anomaly is.
But you know, when we're talking about like how long, yeah, it's not that anomalous to the modern. You know, I was about to say the modern man. I mean,
modern society, to the modern major general.
You know, the sample size that we have as a group,
it's quite anomalous.
It's just longer. It's just longer. It's not. I wouldn't. I don't know if it's really significantly longer.
I would say, if anyone was this long, and I have told this man this, I would say you need to go to a medical professional.
I would say it's significantly longer, more consistently. Like you know, it is always the same amount longer than whenever anyone else has this issue. But you know, that
I think it's also his pure determination in the matter. Because if I couldn't, I'd be like, I'll just come back later. you know.
And he's like, no.
He's like, no. This is the time I have come here, and it shall be done. It might just be that maybe it's just he feels he gets the urges quicker than others, but the fact it takes the same amount of time.
Perhaps there was some sort of event earlier on in his life where a tragic accident occurred because of this problem.
Maybe.
And so now he is, gone. The pendulum has swung the other way, and he is being overly cautious.
One thing that we can do right now is that I got given. I don't know whether you know anything about this, but I got given a delectable basket of goodness in recent times.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, and in that I have a coconut and pineapple dark chocolate bar.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah, it does sound fancy.
What kind of fancy group of people might have got together to buy such fancy things for
now,
you? But hell,
I'm not saying that I am ungrateful in the slightest, but...
You're about to hit me with that. I don't like coconut.
No, coconut's fine. It's the...
Or is it the dark?
I don't know what the pineapple's doing in this scenario.
I don't know. It's like orange, but sweeter, I guess.
Yeah, it's that. Then again, I can say, last time I tried it, I was not a fan. But that was a while ago.
I mean, I don't see why tropical fruits can't go into chocolate.
I think it's not tropical fruits. It's like pizza, Pineapple's always there to cause issues. Let's get real. But I've not had pineapple in a long time. Despite that last time I tried it, I didn't like it. I think now, on camera, for the world to see, me trying pineapple again after all these years, in the form of coconutty dark chocolate. Which I do like dark chocolate and I do like coconut, so I don't like coconut by itself. I think a bounty is
guesses at getting the right thing that you were concerned about, and I whiffed twice.
You whiffed twice, and it's surprising because coconut chocolate is not. It's rare, but it's not that rare. Pineapple chocolate certainly is an anomaly if you think about it.
Yeah, but I didn't think that would be the problem for you. I didn't think that would be the bit that you'd be hung up on. I thought it would be the fact that you're not a dark chocolate person, or
I am a dark chocolate person.
You're not a coconut person. Not that you are bamboozled by the pineapple in the chocolate.
I have to say, biting into this is not quite like anything I've ever had before. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I was gonna. Well, I mean, I would be surprised if it tasted anything.
I don't know whether I like
it
either. It's in that ground of you try it and you think, I think I like this, but I might not. You could. So yeah, we talked about the Colossus of Rhodes. I think it's pretty good. We're talking about the consistency of whether it's on one plinth or two plinths. Scholars think it's on one plinth, but there's no real consensus.
It'd be well hard if it was on two, though, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah, it would be well hard. But aliens are pretty resourceful.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
So we've left the pyramids and the hanging gardens of...
Have we done fight?
Yeah. Well, we did the Colossus in the break.
Oh,
but,
yeah, Zeus was one, wasn't it? And it didn't really count.
And the first two took 40 minutes. We're about to hit the 30-minute mark. So actually, we're around about half of the course. Yeah. I have a personal favourite, but I think we have to go with that one next because the pyramids of Giza are like their own. They're a complete kettle of fish.
Mm-hmm. Let's whack out the hanging gardens because they're
I get the hanging gardens.
Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
I love them.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I love them.
Yeah, who doesn't love them? Who doesn't love the hanging gardens?
Who doesn't love the hanging gardens?
Absolute top idea.
Alien
Very
plants.
well executed.
They say it was the Garden of Eden. Beautiful.
Loads of weird. Oh, really? Did they? I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
I suppose I did. Anyway.
Some people
Makes
have.
sense when you think about it.
It's not there anymore. Uh-oh.
It's one of those places that, like, can we just do it? We could just do it again. Can we just do it again? Like, it'd be cool.
Many people have tried to do it again.
Fuck the
Let's
Egypt
just do it.
project.
Let's just fucking do it.
We haven't all.
Fuck off, you bubbles.
We haven't all rallied
Fucking hanging
around
guards of Babylon.
one of the boys, you know. And many people
Can we
trying
not
to
just
do
get
it.
some, like, I'm talking like, the UN need to get this done. This needs to be like the thing that we do.
You know how there
'Cause-
were a bunch of monoliths as like an art installation last year?
Yeah.
Just hanging gardens at this time. 2021,
Yeah.
hanging gardens.
We need to do one. We need to do a big one. That's just literally a whole city's worth of just gardens that is hanging.
Yeah, I believe it was like it was a building and an aqueduct
What your
going
favourite
into it, and
place is?
all the plants were hanging off the hill that they were on.
Yeah, one big aqueduct.
Yeah, and if you look at like the if you look at like on the Wikipedia, there's a size graph of all of them. You look at like the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus and the Temple of Artemis and the Colossus and the Statue of Rome and the Pharaoh's Lighthouse of Alexandria. Now, hanging gardens is, if you had two hanging gardens next to each other, they'd be longer than one of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Like, this is a humongous
I have not.
building.
Where's the size comparison?
It's on there. It's like it's the one which has a graph, and then if you look at the graph closely
if
at
you
the
look
bottom,
on
there's
specifically the hanging gardens of Babylon,
yeah.
Wikipedia,
It's been on a couple
size
of the
graph.
others.
It is the second largest. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's between that and the Great Lighthouse, to be honest.
Yeah, but a Great Lighthouse has height.
Yeah,
And is
the
height
lighthouse
really
has
important?
height. The Babylon gardens have girth. The hanging gardens of girth.
I still say if you put that upright, I still say it might be
Gardens of
thicker and taller than the lighthouse, maybe.
I think the steeple bit of the lighthouse is really.
Oh, I
what's
see.
gonna-
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
wow.
wouldn't say that really counts. Also, they're counting the base of the lighthouse, which I
What do
don't
you
really
mean
think.
Yeah. What do you mean it doesn't count? It was all built as part of it.
I don't think it counts really, though, does it?
That's your prerogative.
I mean, that base is half the size of the statue of Zeus. That's ridiculous.
Temple of Zeus is by miles the worst one.
I mean,
The statue of
Rubbish.
Zeus is just a bit pathetic, really.
Don't discuss.
It's absolutely pathetic.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, Statue of Zeus and Temple of Artemis have the issue of, like, there is an element missing. If it was the Statue of Zeus and the Temple of Zeus, or the Statue of Artemis and the Temple of Artemis, I'd be happy as a lamb. You know. Whereas, you know.
So what we got? We got right. So the hanging garden. So hang on. One thing. What do they actually grow? Do anyone know?
Well,
Plants.
there are lots of
Yeah, but-
different discussions of what plants actually existed. Some say that the garden was made of entirely mythical plants. But
Well,
others,
it was a real place, so I'm going to discredit that one.
I wouldn't be surprised
also-
if they had some syphilum there.
let's have a look. There's,
Oh, that's for
you know, you got your classic Alea,
It is.
Oripea, your Sidonia oblonga,
Well,
your
it
Pyrus
was one of
communis.
it was one of the most delicious plants in the world, and it was so delicious that the Romans ate it all out of existence.
That can't be real.
Certain
It is real.
imported
It's
ones-
completely real, and I wouldn't be surprised. They were super hard to grow, so you couldn't
Yeah.
domesticate it. But I,
mean-
wouldn't be surprised if there was some in the.
Some of the
Gardens
imported
of Babylon.
ones are supposedly, you know, you got your pomegranate, plum, juniper, oak trees were apparently in there, some myrrh, walnuts, willow trees, cedars, ebony. So
Man,
all kinds.
this is the first one that we're going to have to stop talking about because I just want it to be real and I want to be there now.
Well,
Like, all the other ones, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This one, I'm like, can I live
It-
there? Like, this sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does. It looks.
It
like
doesn't.
from
You wouldn't want to live
artist
there now. I hear it's
depictions.
desert.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
It is in Iraq.
Here the garden's gone.
Well, I'd like it to be real, so we should get on that. That should be our. I know we're doing the Dreamcats this year, but for like maybe a year after that, we should.
Like remake
That
the
was
Hanging
Babylon.
Gardens.
Yeah.
Or just buy
I think
a
it
plot of
was
land.
so. The Colossus was destroyed by earthquake, Lighthouse earthquake, Mausoleum earthquakes, Temple of Zeus dismantled. The Hanging Gardens. We don't know what destroyed the Hanging Gardens.
Ah.
So maybe it's still
that's
out there. No one can prove it.
It is
otherwise.
possible that evidence exists of the Hanging Gardens beneath the Euphrates, but they cannot be excavated safely. So,
Yeah. It really does. It really does point out that like it's so it tells it blatantly clear that most of them are earthquakes, and then you get the statue of Zeus. And it's like people were just sick. People were just sick of it, and they just tore it to bits. Like,
Yeah.
that's how bad it is. That the people are like, no, we're done with this one. It's not even. Why is it on the list? Where's the Taj Mahal at? Eh?
It wasn't built yet.
well,
These
that
are the
was
ancient
built
wonders of the
quite
world.
a lot later.
Is that not ancient enough?
Taj Mahal is not
No.
ancient at all.
Was it not?
No, it's
When was that
actually
built?
really quite recent.
It has to. I think it is the ancient wonders of the world tend to be in the BC range, whereas the Taj Mahal is kind of more in the AD group.
I see.
Taj
Fair dues.
Mahal,
Fair enough.
I-
But I'm sure there's some pretty cracking ancient structures that should be on
yeah,
there.
so the Taj
Better than
Mahal
Not
was
that we-
statue of Zeus.
in the 1600s.
Oh, fair dues, right? Yeah.
Also, you have to consider that the ancient wonders of the world was made by like Greeks and Romans, so like Asia
I'm
is
looking,
right
I'm looking at the
out.
map, and yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not surprised. Right,
Yeah.
so we got one left.
We got one.
Giza, pyramids of Giza. What can you say? I have somebody who thought that the pyramid of Giza was flat.
Now, how does that work?
Yeah, how does one get flat pyramid?
It's a flat
Really?
pyramid, not just a square.
Yeah, well,
Easily.
the first point was like, and I didn't put it past them because they have many interesting beliefs that I am. She is somebody who continually fascinates me. But originally, I got the impression that she thought that the pyramids were two-dimensional by the way she was describing them, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense that they believe that. But actually just thought that instead of it having steps, she thought that it was completely smooth-faced, a perfect pyramid shape. And she was
Well,
Fair,
it did
it probably
used to
did.
be.
It used to be that.
yeah,
That's not
yeah,
entirely
it probably used to be.
inaccurate.
Yeah, it's just not anymore. And I was just like, that makes more sense. But there was a moment where I was just there and I was like, yeah.
Really, you're discrediting the person. You thought they were stupid enough to think it was two-dimensional.
I
And
didn't.
actually, they
I
thought it
didn't.
was
I never
smooth.
said they were stupid enough. I just think they have a very unique way of seeing the world. For example, they called me late at night to say that a ladybug had followed them home and was trying to kill them because they were trying to break into their house. And I had to tell them that I'm pretty certain that it's just a ladybug. I remember asking them just like, are there any other animals that you have suspicions of? And they were like, what do you mean you don't have suspicions about any animals? I was like, I don't know. For example, butterflies. I was like, I don't have any issues with butterfly. They're just full of themselves. Well, that is exactly what I'm talking about. And there was also one where
Just full of themselves.
they don't trust pike because they fell into a pond and there was a pike in there. And when she was in the water, she could see the pike staring at her. She was like, there's something going on there. And I was like, are you sure that it wasn't a fish saw a massive hairless monkey fall into its home? I was like, the fuck is this? And in response, she was like, no, I know what I saw. I mean, this is somebody who believes that the first moon landing was faked. The subsequent ones were fine. But the first one, the very first one, was
I
fake.
love that.
Specifically,
I
Apollo
love that.
11.
And I was like, why? And she said, I saw a documentary. And I was like, what does it say in the documentary? And she said, I can't remember, but I remember it being pretty convincing. At which I just hung my head.
She's been bamboozled.
That's someone who's lost a game of mental chess with a documentary, which happens to us all. I've watched Ancient Aliens. Speaking of which, Pyramids of Giza.
Pyramids of Giza.
The most
Now this one.
famously built
This
by
one.
aliens.
This one,
It's still there.
definitely aliens.
It's the only one.
Definitely aliens.
In fact,
Right, okay.
actually, out
Here's
of all the ones
right.
we've discussed today, I think it's the least likely to be aliens because the aliens haven't pretended to make an earthquake and steal it back.
That's true. That's a good point.
In fact,
However, this one, right now. So, if we haven't talked about this on the podcast before, but I come from a engineering background, which now, whilst I'm not exactly a whiz kid, I can tell you that the pyramids don't make no fucking
Building
sense.
them would have been bloody hard.
yeah, and they had thousands of years to make them in.
Literally not happening. Literally not fucking
So I was
happening.
just reading.
As an
on
archaeologist,
Wikipedia,
I can
actually.
tell you.
Do you know how much potential energy there is in the pyramid? Like just the big one alone. It's like a nuke bomb. It's like a fucking
Yeah.
nuke in equivalent energy that it took to raise that much
Yeah.
stone up.
It was
fucking stupid.
It was over a long amount of time. There were many man hours. They had very good techniques to build
Man-hours
them.
don't enter
And
into
I
it.
am going to ask you that they are just big blocks of stone, and why would an
Just
alien
big
make
blocks
them?
of stone. No, I'm not. No. Right. I'm not saying
No,
it was aliens.
no,
It wasn't a. I'm not that guy.
wasn't aliens.
However, it wasn't just people. We had
It
some
was-
fucking wacky machinery back then.
we
Like,
had
you
we
can't
had
do that.
we had simple machinery because I think the main thing is that when you look at anthropology and you look at people in the past, we give people of the past and people in anthropology
Yeah,
a
I
lot
agree.
less credit than they actually
know,
do.
that's what I'm saying.
They're
That's
very,
exactly
they're very
what I'm saying.
like you have logs to use to ease movement up and down.
Yeah, but you're saying it like it's just a sort of heavy pebble. This is like 70 tons.
Yeah.
Madness. Anyway, yeah, well, cool. Obviously going on the top three.
Top three.
It'll be a
Anyway,
bit of
let's
a-
rate the top three. Top three.
Well, I think we know which one isn't making the cut.
I think we know two that are making the cut. It's the third one that's
Yeah.
making it with them. Because let's
Yeah.
take a step back. Hanging Gardens of Babylon and Great Pyramids of Giza.
obviously.
Clearly deserve it.
Yeah, they're clearly.
And I think if you're looking at the size of all of them, then I think it's the Lighthouse.
It would be the lighthouse.
Because that is the only other one that's like.
But
It's the
actually,
next
skyscraper.
if we really think about it, it should be the Taj Mahal.
I vote Big
Made of
Ben,
chocolate.
mate. Brexit means
Big
Brexit.
Ben. Brexit
Get
means
these ones out
Brexit.
of here.
Get these,
Brexit means.
get these
I think.
Brexit wonders out my face.
I think the greatest thing would be the Parthenon frieze that we have in the British Museum. That should be the ancient wonder of the world.
The final ancient wonder of the world should be
Is-
the collective stuff that we've nicked that sits in the British Museum and is like well cool combined. All
We've
that stuff, that should be
solved
the
it! Hooray!
We did it.
The top three ancient
Woo.
wonders of the world.
It's those ones.
Yeah.
Sounds about
Stupid
right.
bloody
To be
statue
fair,
of Zeus.
we probably have
Colossus
bits.
of Rhodes is
We
pretty.
probably have bits of all of these in the British Museum for Temple of Artemis,
Yeah.
Zeus, Mausoleum, Colossus, and
Probably.
Lighthouse. Probably in
I mean,
storage, but you
especially
know.
especially since there's still bits of Artemis and the Mausoleum still kicking about where they actually were. Like, there's still the foundations kicking about, so we've probably got bits of that.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Just got bits.
Giza,
I found a brick a couple of days ago.
Giza, Babylon.
Ah, here we
Probably.
go. So the tomb of Massalos, so the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus and the Temple of Artemis, the surviving artifacts from them are currently being kept in the British Museum in London.
Do. That's the wrong song.
God
That's the wrong song. Hang
save
on.
the
The Queen. God save the Queen. God save the Queen. Brexit means Brexit. Right. Anyways,
Brexit means Brexit.
All hail our
Apparently.
Lord and Saviour Boris Johnson.
Thank you for watching.
I love it because saying Brexit means Brexit is not even a political statement because it's literally
Yeah.
true.
Brexit means
the most true
Brexit.
statement of them all.
If there's one thing you can say about Brexit, it's that it means Brexit.
It means
You know.
Brexit.
Can't argue with
Whether
this
you
kind of
like it or
logic.
dislike it, it's Brexit.
It
And-
sure does mean what
Yeah.
it is.
It would be
Yeah.
crazy. It would almost be crazier if it didn't mean Brexit.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine if it actually mean?
Some people make the
Brexit.
argument that Brexit doesn't mean Brexit.
Well, I don't think it does
Brentrance.
anymore, at least. But that's
Yeah,
getting
not
too
not
political.
anymore, but that's getting
So let's
too
Brexit
just
means
cut
political.
our
Brentrance.
losses.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the FTL1 podcast. Do you enjoy the 7 Wonders of the World? Please kickstart the UK economy by coming to the British Museum to see parts of it that we stole. Does anybody want to advertise anything? Brilliant. No.
We're the fucking worst.
Check out these 3 wonders
We're
of the
doing-
world.
Check out these 3 wonders of the world.
Oh.
My wonder of the
Oh.
world is a
He's
new podcast called the Jingle Cats podcast.
Here's
In our
Tom.
first episode, we re-record the first episode because somebody's audio fucked up.
And that's the
What's your
second time.
What's your one?
We need a murder tally of like how many podcasts each of us have murdered. I've murdered at least 1. You've murdered 2.
I've
murdered 2.
done 2.
To be fair, I didn't actually
whose fault
murder
was
the
the
cold
last
open
Jingle
one
Cats?
because it was the Matt's audio.
It was Matt that murdered the Jingle Cat. The
I
cold
was
open.
pretty
Who
good. I
murdered
was
the
on a
first
pretty
Jingle
hot
Cats? I
streak
can't
of
remember.
not messing things up until last time, and I got 2 in one go.
I think I've messed up one.
I think I messed up the other Jingle Cats. Did
I think I messed up one by not recording my audio or recording
boy
all of
did
the
the
audio.
fruit.
Yeah.
Well, something happened with the fruit.
I think.
That was me.
This boy
Yeah.
did the old Jingle Cats one, like last
Yeah, I
year's.
think I was the old Jingle Cats one where I record. I
Really?
didn't
Because he-
record
he
my
had the
audio, or I
background.
recorded.
No, you had the background audio, your desktop audio playing, and so we couldn't
yeah,
hear a
yeah,
word you
yeah,
were saying
yeah.
because it was just Jingle Cats in the background.
That was
yeah.
it. Yes.
Oh, good times.
We're
Oh
professional.
man. We're
Unprofessionals. But yeah.
All right. Well, sayonara.
Sayonara. See you tomorrow when we record
Tell
the
us
Jingle
about your
Cats,
favourite
which will probably be
pyramids.
out before this episode.
I reckon Godzilla did the pyramids. Bye.
Bye.